continue from where my colleague left off. I don't have a remark. Mine is to implement the directives of the minister. And so I don't have anything to add. I respectfully and in all humility invite the Honorable Member of Parliament for Asawase, I think he likes that sport, and my supervising minister, that's the Minister for Interior, to launch the program. After that, if you have any questions, you invite them. We have learned colleagues here who will help us to answer, and my minister is more prepared than ever to respond to all your queries. What we will accept is constructive criticisms and proposals, suggestions. We are not contesting ideas. We want to make it better for everybody and to help develop our country. So without much ado, and in all humility, Honorable Minister and MP for Asawase.
Thank you very much, Director General, Narcotics Control Commission, Brigadier General Mante. Before I start, let me acknowledge my former colleagues, Ministers of Interior. I'm happy to have invited and I'm very grateful that they honored my invitation. First, Honorable Ambrose Derry. Please, let's give him a round of applause. Thank you so much for coming. And then Honorable Henry Kwete, they're also immediate Minister of Interior. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We invited them for a purpose because this was initiated by them. They went through with it, with all these challenges, and if I recollect very well in Parliament, how after the Supreme Court ruling, Honorable Ambrose Derry will have to run back, virtually panting, to deal with it. Seniors, thank you so much for your contribution to get this to where it is today, and I'm happy that you have come to witness what you started. I think this is how best we can build our country, working, doing it together. So thank you so much for coming. Honorable Ministers, Deputy Ministers, President, Chief Director of the Ministry of Interior, Chairman of the Governing Board of Narcotics Control Commission, Director General of the Narcotics Control Commission, our sister agencies heads, in particular the Comptroller General of Ghana Immigration Service, Mr. Ahmad Basentale, and then the Chief Fire Officer, Madam Mausi Into, all other protocol observed. It is my honor and privilege to address you on this historic occasion, the official launch of the Medicinal Cannabis Regulatory Program in Ghana. It has been a long-awaited moment following the passage of the Narcotics Control Commission Amendment Act 2023, Act 11000, and the Narcotics Control Commission Cultivation and Management of Cannabis Regulation 2023, LI 2475. Today's event marked a significant milestone in Ghana's commitment to responsible drug control, public health and safety, and economic development. The passage of Act 1100 and LI 2475 provides a clear legal and regulatory framework for the controlled cultivation and management of cannabis for industrial and medicinal purposes, in line with international best practice and our national laws. Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin by stating the obvious. The recreational use of cannabis remains illegal under Section 45 of Act 1019. For the avoidance of doubt, I have to just quote the two sections. Section 45, 1 and 2 states as follows. 1. A person who, without lawful authority, proof of which lies on that person, purchases a narcotic drug or plant with intention to sell or supply the narcotic drug commits an offense. A person who, without lawful authority, purchases a narcotic drug or plant for personal use commits an offense. So please, dealing with weed is still illegal. So So don't confuse this with we. This weeds, they call it we. Even though it's weeds, they call it we. So let me mention the way so they know what we are talking about. We are talking about we. We is still illegal. What we are talking about here is medicinal cannabis. No. Medicinal cannabis. Consequently, the sale, purchase, possession, and the use of cannabis without authorization is a criminal offense in our country. What we have done through the Narcotics Control Commission Act 2023, Act 1100, and Narcotics Control Commission Cultivation and Management of Cannabis Regulation 2023, LI 2475, is to create a tightly controlled, transparent, and Ghanaian-owned framework for the cultivation and utilization of cannabis that have a negligible psychoactive effect. That is the cultivation and management of cannabis which has not more than 0.3% THC content on a dry weed basis for industrial purposes, for obtaining fiber, seed, or for medicinal purposes. This is the same species of cannabis plant that is legally cultivated in many countries, including Canada, the United States of America, and the United Kingdom, Germany, and over 50 other countries for medicine, textile, food, and other industrial purposes. Ladies and gentlemen, in Canada alone, the legal cannabis market generates over 800 million Canadian dollars between 2020 and 2023 financial year, surpassing beer, wine, and tobacco combined. That is the economic potential we are responsibly tapping into, but under strict conditions that protect public health and national security. Under LI 2475, 11 categories of licenses are available. Namely, for cultivation, if you want to cultivate, you have to have a license. If you want to process, you have to have a license for that. If you want to breed, you have to get a license. If you want to research into it, you have to get a license. If you want to set up a laboratory for testing, you have to get a license. You want to store it, you have to get a separate license. If you want to even transport it, you have to get a license for that. You want to import, you want to export, all that. The most interesting thing, and I know the media are here, you want to advertise this, you have to have a license to even advertise it. So it's not something that you can just sit and tomorrow morning you start advertising because somebody has come to see you. No, you have to have a license to even advertise this. So there are 11 licenses regime under both the law and the regulations. To qualify for any of these licenses, an individual must be a Ghanaian citizen or permanent resident aged 18 and above. For corporate entities, at least 50% of the shareholding must be Ghanaian owned, and the majority of the directors must be Ghanaians. This is a non-negotiable because it is explicitly in the Act. I'm not the one to break it, and I will ensure that nobody breaks it. You cannot operate under any corporate shareholding that does not give at least 50% to Ghanaians, or the directors dominated by others. The directors must be dominated by Ghanaians. Ghanaians' resources must benefit Ghanaians first. Under the law, only the Minister for the Interior, acting on the recommendation of the Narcotics Control Commission, has the authority to grant, suspend, notify, or modify or cancel any license. And here, I want to add, please don't start writing to my office. We have created a portal that will be advertised at the end of this presentation. All applications are to go through that. We want to avoid the human interface so that we don't create guru boys in the corridor of Minister of Interior. No. You have to do it online, which is transparent. You can track, you can see the stages, you can see where it has reached. If there are challenges, they'll get back to you, all through non-human interface. Licenses under the program will be issued for 3 years, but they are renewable. The licenses are site specific. So you can't come and take a license that you're going to cultivate this in Ministry of Government Communication conference room. And then you are given, then you go and start cultivating at the car park of the Ministry for Government Communication. No. Once it is given to you in this room, you can only cultivate it in this room. You can't cultivate it in the veranda. No, it has to be here. So it is site specific. In the same way, it is also activity specific. That's why there are 11 licenses. So you cannot come and take license for cultivation and tomorrow you are transporting. You say, but I've cultivated, how do I get it to the port? If you need to transport it, you have to get another license because there are regimes and guidelines to safeguard its movement. So if you are cultivating, you cultivate to a specific location, or if you are also going to transport, we have to give you a license to transport it. And these licenses are non-transferable. So you can't come in the name of Muntaka and take it, and then tomorrow you go and give it to Ramante that, that's my partner. No, if you are partners, apply together and let us know you are in it together. So that if there are consequences, we hold you collectively responsible. So you cannot transfer it without express approval of the Minister for Interior. Ghana has also put in place in a strong safeguard measures in the implementation of the Cannabis Regulatory Program. No cultivation or facility may be located within 100 meters of school or residential area. Cannabis with more than 0.3% THC remains prohibited narcotics plant and is completely illegal. All licensed premises are subject to unannounced inspection by Narcotics Control Commission officers who have the power to enter, search, seize, and prosecute as provided under Section 54, 59, and 59 of Act 1019. Quarterly returns are mandatory, and failure to submit attracts heavy fines. What do we do from here, or this framework? First, what do we expect from this framework? First, a significant reduction in illegal cultivation of high THC cannabis, because farmers now have a legal and profitable alternative. And if someone will say, look, these are our peasant farmers, how are they going to take advantage of it? One of the things that we've been taxing the Narcotics Control Commission to start putting in place is to see how they can put them together as cooperatives. So you come in as cooperative to apply. So you become a member of the cooperative. The rules will bind on you. They will guide you as a group to be able to cultivate it so that you can move away from the illegal cultivation to legitimate cultivation. Second, the attraction of serious local and foreign investment into a sector that can create thousands of decent jobs, especially for our youth in rural areas. Third, substantial revenue for the state through licensing fees and export earnings. Ladies and gentlemen, the success of this program rests on strict enforcement, responsible business conduct, and accurate public education. I urge the media to help us send the correct message. This is about job creation, medicine, and revenue, not about recreational use of drugs. Ghana is not legalizing weed. And I repeat, we are not legalizing weed. We are creating a world-class Ghanaian controlled industrial hemp and therapeutic cannabis sector that will compete with the likes of Canada, the United States of America, and Germany, while protecting public health and national security. The fees and charges miscellaneous provision amendment regulation 2025 LI 2512, that's LI 2512, as approved by Parliament of Ghana, provides for the fees and charges associated with the Cannabis Licensing Program. The Narcotics Control Commission, under the supervision of the Minister of Interior, has put in place the requisite protocol for the full implementation of this licensing program. I therefore want to use this opportunity to encourage well-meaning Ghanaian entrepreneurs and investors to submit their application for consideration. On this note, I have a single honor to declare the Cannabis Regulation Program in Ghana officially launched for implementation. May God continue to bless our homeland Ghana, and may God bless all of you. Before I take the questions, let me also acknowledge the just previous Director General of Narcotics Control Commission, who had worked tirelessly with the ministers, both ministers that I'm talking about here. My brother, thanks so much for coming, and all the team. I mean, I'm very happy to see all of you because, I mean, when the Deliberative invited you, we came to make the work largely done. Well, what was left was for us to get the fees and charges. You have done almost all the work in terms of the act, in terms of the regulation, and as we quoted them, if you look at the 1100, it was in 2023. If you look at the regulation 2475, it's also 2023. The only one that is done 2025 is the fees and charges. So we just came to complete what you have done, and we are grateful that you are teaming up with us to enforce and work on this. We just pray that the reason behind the initiation, the well thought through of it, the effort that has been made will be blessed. So thank you so much for joining us, and we hope that even in the implementation, my colleagues, former ministers and Director General and all those staff will not take your eyes off. Please, you know reason, you argued why certain clauses were in there. If you see things going in the way that you think creates doubt, please, our doors are open 24/7 to make sure that we implement it and get the intent just as you work on it. So thank you so much for being here today. So we'll take questions. Yes, so anybody who has some question? Yes, madam.
Please, those who want to ask questions.
Can we get the mic? Or there's another mic?
One mic. Because of the TV.
I'm Christiana Efwanyapo from Ghana News Agency. I want to know the mandatory security protocols. What mandatory security protocols must the farms that cultivate the medicinal cannabis have in place to prevent maybe possible future diversions of industrial cannabis into illegal recreational markets? That's the first question. And the second one has to do with the seed sourcing. Will the government provide standardized or low THC seeds to farmers, or they are required to source or import their proceeds themselves? I mean, requiring some specific permits. Thank you.
Okay, we can take more if there are any. There's another lady. Can those who may want to ask questions come forward so that it will be easier and straightforward? Yes. Yeah, so maybe as they are coming forward, I'll try and answer the two that she mentioned. Yes, you realize I told you there's 11 licenses that are required. Those 11 licenses include import and export. And currently the seeds, we don't have it in our country. So it has to be imported. But to import it, you need to have a license so that you'll be taken through the vigorous process of making sure that you are importing only the right seed. So yes, government is not positioning itself to provide the seeds. No, it is a business, and we expect that people will take advantage of that so that they will become importers of the seed. And the research people can also take advantage that once it's brought in, they develop so that we have our own seed that tomorrow we don't need to every day be importing. They will just develop it into the kind of what we call it seed that is required. And then they will also require a license to do that. You saw that in the presentation of the commission. They showed you that we are trying to use GPS, we'll try and use drones, we'll use our officers. So when we say we are giving you specific area, we have our men across the country. Narcotics Control Commission officers are all over the country. We are also working, I mean, you've seen immigration is here, you've seen fire is here, you've seen prisons are here, you see police are here. Definitely they have to be working in a very collaborative manner with the NIB, that's National Investigative Bureau, all the security services, because this is something that if we joke and we get it wrong, Ghana could easily be blacklisted And therefore, all the effort will come to nothing. And therefore, we are not going to sleep. We are going to make sure that people adhere to the rule vigorously, so that just like our cocoa, sometimes we get premium. We want to be able to work so that they will come and say that, oh, their hair from Ghana, even though it's being produced elsewhere, is really of high quality. So we are not going to compromise on that. Yes.
Okay, so please, my question is the government going to make, sorry, please, I'm Rahel Enyimfo from GH1 TV. Please, is the government going to make buyers available, like the cocoa board that they can send the gold? Is the government going to make buyers available? Because I'm asking this because maybe those growing it might think that they've grown it, but then they are not getting buyers, and so they might sell it to our people. So my second question is, what are they doing to prevent the abuse of it? Because I think it's